very near the front. But after that, he's since gone on to be an excellent starter of a TCR car. They have a big handbrake to actually stop their forward movement.
Yep.
They also have launch control, which helps them get off the line. They maximise the revs to about 4,000 RPM, drop the clutch, and the car should grip and go. But, of course, we thought that would happen yesterday, and there were other dramas that went on. 5 lights on, getting ready for a start. Lights out, and we will be away. And a great start for Jasper Thong. Too much wheel spin. So who's going to be the one to move forward? Sean Thong has unfortunately dropped further back again. Kasiri already up to about position 8. Tin Stritroy up to about position 6. 3 wide going down to turn 1 is not ideal. 2 of the R Engineering Hondas in that. They need to make that sort themselves out beforehand. Diego Moran in there. Kasiri caught a little bit wide by one of the team TCR Thailand entries. But up front, Jasper Thong has managed to hold on to the lead, and he leads from the points leader, Lai from R Engineering and Malaysia. 3rd place. That's a good start for, looks like Natnit has managed to hang on to that position. So off the front row, off pole, she's only dropped back to 3rd. Position 4 may well be Alex Liu or Eric Kay. That's Alex Liu in the Elegant Racing Team, number 99 entry, Diego Moran. The Ecuadorian position 32, and WS Lai is actually shown in position 6. He's actually up in position 2. So that is his teammate, of course, Abdul Katir, but in front of Katir, that is Diego Moran, and he has the 2 charging young tyres behind him. Tin Stritroy in position 7, and position 8 is Candidate Kasiri. Tin Stritroy already applying pressure to the rear of the Malaysian tail.
Look like he's going to be coming up pretty shortly, though. Look at his S1 and S2 time, section 1 and 2. He's making a good improvement, and I suspect he's going to be climbing up a notch from 6 to 5 pretty soon. Look at that going on the inside.
Under pressure. This is riding on board with Tin Stritroy. You can see he just tried to make a move. That looked like down at turn 16. And they're racing along the back to come up towards the pits, which is turn 18, the left-hander. And there might be an opportunity under brakes as they come in here for Stritroy. Katir's gone out wide and allowed him through. Stritroy's taken that position away. Now, we didn't quite have the timing monitors reformat, so Lai should be shown in position 2. In fact, he's taken the lead. We haven't seen it yet out front, but he has taken the lead, it seems, from Jasper Thong. Now, Thong's dropping down the order, so they may have had drama for the 17-year-old. Now down to position 8, position 9, position 10. So Jasper Thong has a problem somewhere on the circuit. We haven't seen it live. Well, there he's shown leading this race still, so I'm not quite sure the correlation between the timing monitor and what we're seeing on screen. Lai behind him in position number 2.
Right
so
now.
Certainly Jasper Thong now shown in position 2, where he's in fact leading this race. Now he's back at the top of the timing sheet. I think we're looking at something a little bit different with the timing. We may need to readjust that, but we'll keep up to date. But certainly on screen, Jasper Thong, the 17-year-old, the man who took the Audi RS3 LMS TCR to its first ever victory worldwide, leads this race. Championship points leader, Lai Wei Sing, is in position number 2 for R Engineering. Position number 3, Natanit is still holding on to that position in the number 96 Sayat Leon. And of course, the AM Cup points lead for TCR Thailand to add to her fantastic run first time out. Position 4 is Alex Liu. Position 5, Diego Moran. Now, of course, we're being shown on screen that there is a drive-through penalty for car number 2. It does appear that Candidate Kasiri has taken that drive-through. He's now back in position 14. Now, what he'll be hoping for, of course, is a safety car intervention, because he will be a long way back behind race leader Jasper Thong, who's now got to consider what's going on in his rear vision mirror. And he has a man who we've already seen this year is very well credentialed in close combat racing. Of course, a production car and touring car star in his home country in Malaysia. He has been here before, but admitted it hasn't helped him all that much. He will be using that pressure to try and force Jasper Thong into an error. Of course, we've also seen too in race 1 yesterday that an error, if handled incorrectly, can also eliminate you. So you only want to push only so far. Sean Thong was the one that was involved in that yesterday, where he went very wide down here at turn 16, opened the door for Diego Moran to make a passing move. Sorry, yes. At turn 16, he opened the door for Diego Moran to come through, but of course Sean Thong had nowhere to go when he rejoined. The two made contact on the exit. It was deemed a racing incident, but that effectively dropped Sean Thong back down the order. As we see a little bit of contact, that is Diego Moran tooting the horn on the rear of Alex Liu's Sayat Leon, and behind him he's got Tin Stritroy pushing very, very hard to try and get through and make up positions. So Jasper Thong continues to lead Fly, position 2. Natanet in position 3. Alex Liu, position 4. Diego Moran, position 5. Tin Stritroy, position 6. AK just going through the corner there in position 7. From Sombat, who made the podium yesterday for the Thailand team, and take the Pro-Am Cup points lead for TCR Thailand, position 8. Sean Thong in position 9. You see him on screen in the gold and silver Audi Hong Kong car. Bad start again for him. He's not had a good weekend with his launch control. Admitted there was a problem that caused dramas for him during yesterday's race. In both starts, he was unable to get away well and had a lot of work to do to come through the field. And then TCR Thailand's Hank Kaysen in the blue and red metallic TCR Honda is in position number 10, just ahead of Douglas Koo. That is Diego Moran ahead of Tin Stritroy. Of course, Moran will be doing everything he can to stay ahead of the young Thai driver, the Ecuadorian, making his debut in TCR this year. Yellow flags flying. What have we got down here ahead of us as Jasper Thong heads down to turn 2? Oh, that's heavy contact with the front of Douglas Koo and the rear of Eric Kwong. So that could be a full course yellow. That'll bunch the field up. Safety car. And this is what Kennedy Kasiri needs to bring him right back into this race. Here he is, car number 2, a little bit further back in this field. I'm not sure why he's taken a position away there. So it's the 38 car of Ratanen who was involved in that incident, got very airborne in that race 1 crash start yesterday.
Safety crew's got to really clean up that track first, because that debris is going to be creating a lot of slippage on those tires there. Spilled a lot of, what was that? It wasn't transmission.
No, it was coolant. I'd say it was coolant by the colour of it, so it'll be water, so that'll be relatively easy to tidy up, but we don't know what other damage has been done to the front of Douglas Koo's car. And for the Paul Viper Nisa racing team, Nico and the boys, they've spent a lot of time working on that car. Yesterday, in fact, after practice, they had to do a gearbox change and work on the front of the car. Slight contact Douglas Koo made with the barriers, and I do mean slight. It was mostly superficial damage, so they fixed that. And then, of course, race 1 yesterday, they had to rebuild most of the front of the car. The subframe at the front of the car had to be replaced, and suspension uprights in the left front corner of the car after the contact he made is being punched around between the cars. He admitted that he saw that there was a drama going on in front of him, and another driver hit him quite heavily from behind and pushed him into it. So they've actually stopped on the race line down there at turn 14. So that's a quite unusual one. Whether or not Eric Kay had a problem and Douglas was unable to avoid him. Oh, there's a third car. So that's the 15 car, which has had a fairly tough start of the weekend, and Nuya's been there on and off, also part of the Team Iki squad, and unfortunately for the Honda driver, he will also, by the looks of things, be out. So something's gone on there we haven't seen. He will be out because I can see his wing folded up at the back of the car. So that's going to eliminate 3 more cars. That's not what we needed. If we just check the timing monitors, Douglas Koo, that's very much deja vu. We were looking at a shot very much like that yesterday, where he's comparing notes with some of the other drivers after being eliminated. So unfortunately for the Malaysian, who's very passionate about his TCR driving, so much so that he has a car in Thailand for the TCR Thailand series and a car in Asia for TCR Asia, he's not going to take any further part in this. Just check the timing monitors. Kennedy Kasiri up to position 11. You'll see him at the back of the pack there. There's now only 11 cars, it appears, left running, because Douglas Koo shown in position 12. So we will get a restart at some point. The clock is still ticking. So
12 laps left, right?
I was saying there's 12 laps left. We'll just see. Certainly this weekend for the Bang Seng Grand Prix, there are some international series visitors. TCR Asia Series is one of those. As you were talking about earlier, the circuit has been upgraded to FIA Grade 3. So certainly it's nice to see these cars competing. We don't want to just set a window of 30 minutes, have situations like this, or like we saw yesterday, we wound up with 10 minutes of racing. Of course, you're operating within a time window. People have come to see these cars compete. The drivers have come to compete. So it's nice that perhaps they have stopped the clock, allowed it to continue ticking down. We're scheduled for 2 15-lap races. Unfortunately, race 1 was shortened force majeure, as the stewards were saying at the end of the day yesterday. There wasn't much they could do to extend it beyond the time that they operated, the window they operated within, so that was cut to 7 laps. This one's currently still continuing. We are scheduled for a 15-lap race distance, and Jasper Thong is doing a brilliant job. I shouldn't tell this story, but I'll tell it. He was saying in his track walk when he walked around for the very first time, I think on Wednesday or Thursday, that he got to turn 2, and his older brother Sean, who's very experienced as a driver, despite being just 21 years of age. We saw that because his first time here, he's mere tenths off the pace of the 2 flying tyres at the front of the field. Jasper walked around with the crew and went, "Oh, this turn 2, it looks okay. I should be all right here." Mm-hmm. They say that during his onboard footage for his first flying lap in practice, he got to turn 2 with the front wheels locked, turned, and his arms crossed, screaming some obscenity that you wouldn't replay in front of most young children.
Right.
And the team got a lot of enjoyment out of that because he'd made a point of saying, "I should be pretty right here. It's not that difficult, is it?" So before after that, he had a newfound respect for the Bang Seng circuit, and he slowly crept forward. So to be leading this race is good. Kudos to Jasper Thong that he's taken on board the advice from the team. Certainly Marchi Lee is one of the 2 team bosses with, of course, Ernst Moser from Germany, from Phoenix Racing. Mm-hmm. And they are guiding these young drivers very, very well. And they've spent a lot of time going through data, working with the engineers. I know Marchi Lee, who's been caught, unfortunately, in Hong Kong this weekend, has been on the phone with both Jasper and Sean across the weekend to just coach them with all his years of experience, nearly 30 years of experience now in motorsport, as to just what they should be considering on this demanding Bang Seng circuit. And we're talking about it. Jasper Thong is leading this race, so clearly the 17-year-old has taken that on board, and he will be hoping that he may well be able to add to his win tally this year and do the double. But certainly the man behind him, Lowy Singh, for our engineering, he is no slouch. He will be happy to finish second because it is championship points. But strangely, despite leading the championship, points now by 17 points, which is probably the biggest advantage anybody has had this year, he has not won a round of TCR Asia. I said to him yesterday, do you want to get to the end of the year as a championship winner without having won a race, or do you desperately want to win a race? What's the bigger option? He said, well, I'm a driver. I want to win a race. That's why I'm here every time. But he is considering that this is a tough event for everybody, but he doesn't have the experience of the 2 flying Thai drivers. So he said, if I can just manage to eke out good points, bring the car home in one piece, maybe make a podium, and come away perhaps with my points leading attack, I will attack at the next event in Shanghai, where there is runoff and opportunity. I know the circuit and the Zhejiang circuit, which we will visit a little bit later in the year.
I can't imagine. Yesterday he told me that Mr. Lai said that he wasn't expecting to win right here in Bang Seng, and look at him go right now.
I think that's the approach to take. I mean, every driver wants to win, and we know that there are a lot of variables that can impact a race. We saw it 100 metres into race 1 yesterday. You don't know what's going to happen. The weather can impact things. We saw a dramatic race in Zhuhai in China in May, where one team in lightly drizzling rain elected to fit wet weather tyres when everybody else decided to start on slicks. It could have gone either way. It turned out that the rain increased in intensity and everybody had to pull into the pits and fit wet weather tyres. By that stage, they were gone. They finished 1-2. That was a brilliant strategy decision. There's too many variables for you to be able to determine exactly what is going to happen. So you can't come in, I don't think, and say, I'm going to win here in Bang Seng, unless perhaps you're Kennedy Kasiri. But I think after race 1 yesterday, even he couldn't lay claim to that, despite the fact that myself and many other people would have said he was very certainly the big favourite for the race this weekend. And he didn't finish the first lap, so anything can still happen. So for Lai, take the conservative approach. The smart move for a championship is to get yourself into a position where you can record good points, but maybe not put yourself under pressure to be battling at the front of the field and risk potential contact and fail to finish. You don't win championships by not finishing races. So Lowy Singh, very smart operator, very clever competitor in the combat of production and touring cars, certainly in Malaysia, where you've got big fields of cars all very, very close. He's won a number of those championships, so he knows how to win races and win championships, and he's a very cool, calculating operator. So he'll be taking all of that on board. If he has an opportunity to fire up the inside of Jasper Thong rather, or push Jasper into some sort of, I don't mean that physically, but push Jasper emotionally into some kind of error, then he will take advantage. But of course, we're just talking about it. The car in front of us here, the number 32 of Diego Moran, and the number 3 rather, of Sean Thong yesterday made contact in a similar sort of incident, because the track's so narrow. If one car has an incident, it can often include 1 or 2 more. And Lai will be well aware of that too. So he wants to finish this race. He wants to keep it at a minimum where he is in the on the track now, because he'll actually extend again his championship points lead after Bang Sen, which I think anybody would have been happy to be able to attest to at the close of 2 very dramatic races here on the streets of Chonburi. So there is a long way to go still. What are we saying? 10 laps still to go.
Car 15 just got pulled into on the flatbed right here, pulled into pits right now, so that's definitely a no-go.
That's a good sign, but the safety car lights are still on as we come back down the main straight, so that could potentially tell us we've got one more lap to go.
Least, yeah.
Now, what Jasper Thong is doing, he's not bored. What he's actually doing is trying to keep tyre temperature up.
That's right.
Because these tyres operate best when they're hot. Their grip levels are highest when they're hot. If they cool down too much, you've programmed your brain after a couple of race laps to know how deep into a corner you can go. When you don't have that tyre temperature, often that can lead to a locked brake, or it can lead to just missing the corner completely. And here, you really can't afford to miss a corner. You've got no run-up. So they're doing what they can to try and maintain the tyre temperature and the control mission of the tyres. So some will weave quite dramatically. Others, well, they use braking temperature too to add tyre temperature. So they'll brake very suddenly and hope that the intensity of the brakes. Often you see those fantastic motor racing photographs from circuits around the world where the discs are glowing red hot. They're using that temperature to actually get some temperature into the tyres. So some people use different techniques, but the aim here is to make sure that they try and keep some kind of tyre temperature. Certainly the experienced drivers are better on colder tyres than some of the amateur drivers. So they will use that experience to try and leverage a position off a restart.
Fuel's not a big problem for this type of race, is it?
No. The fuel tanks are more than capable of lasting a race of this length and longer. Although having said that, what they do is they often fuel cars to just complete a race distance and maybe enough to come down on a cool down lap, because you don't want to carry so much weight that your car's got more weight than it needs. It's also moving around in the back of the car. It's extra load on the back of the car. Of course, there is a minimum racing weight with the driver and the car with fuel and tyres, etc. There is a minimum weight. When they finish this race, they will often weigh some of the cars, certainly the winning cars, and make sure they are above that minimum weight. So there's all these variables they need to keep into consideration, but certainly circulating at 40, 50, 60 kilometres an hour.
That should leave plenty to be on the weighing station later on, yeah.
But it does have an impact on the performance of the car too. And whilst there aren't a lot of adjustments you can make to race cars like this, there are certain things with adjusting the sway bars inside the car which adjust the suspension for things like the fuel load. Because if you can imagine carrying, say, 60 kilograms of fuel at the start of a race, you've got 20 or 30 kilograms less towards the end of the race. The balance of the car is different. That weight has disappeared because you've burnt that fuel off. So the car characteristics can be a little bit different. So too with tyre wear. The drivers can make some minor modifications inside the car to adjust that, just to counter the performance of the car. But again, that comes down to experience. If you're an amateur, you're really just hanging on, doing what you can. Funny, I talked to some engineers after practice and I said, how much are you tuning the car and how much are you tuning the driver? And the question I was asking was, the driver learning the Bang Sen circuit can go faster than them adjusting the performance of the car, because the driver hasn't reached his limit yet. When they get to somewhere like Canada Series pace, then you can start to modify the car to be better across the bumps, or to turn in better, or to make minor modifications. But certainly at the start, for most of these drivers that have not seen Bang Sen before, it's all about track knowledge. And sadly, 2 30-minute sessions, often intervened with red flag periods, there hasn't been a lot of time for many of these drivers to actually get that track knowledge. So, lots to consider.
Looks like everybody's at least chilling out here, though.
The timing monitor is now showing us that the light
going back and
Jasper
forth.
Thong's back,
Yeah. Officials are trying to make up their mind.
Something's
Maybe
going
somebody's
on.
not having the coffee yet. But
Yeah.
anyway.
The car's moving around or something. Something's not quite right. But anyway, Jasper Thong certainly does lead this race. We have shown it's 10 laps still remaining.
He's right behind the safety car.
Yep.
He's got to be in first because positions cannot change as the safety car is out.
No.
Yeah, so
They pick up the leader, and that's exactly what he's done. Interesting, the lights are still on the safety car, so one wonders whether that incident off screen to us has actually been some barrier damage. Of course, we're talking about the safety involved in events like this, and they need to make sure that on the freak chance that there's another incident in an area where there may have been damage to a barrier, it can't be worse for the drivers or the circuit. So it is important that they get that right. That may be, we're surmising, the reason why we're still behind the safety car.
So even with all the cars on the flatbed, what you're saying is true because they might have an issue of trying to fix up the track or cleaning up as much as possible. Even though there's no more damaged cars on the track, what you said was correct because they're probably fixing up a barrier or some sort.
And there's also, thank you Jeff Matner for pointing that out, there is a flag saying effectively oil on the circuit or some kind of fluid on the circuit.
There you go.
So drivers will be taking that on board and making a mental note that at that part of the circuit they might want to just alter their line a little bit to avoid that.
Went out.
Well, that's a good sign. So we could have 9 racing laps left in this race. The lights are certainly out.
Off,
Well picked, Mark. That's good. So we can go racing. You can stop listening to me talking about all sorts of things that are involved in the
very informative.
The racing format of TCR worldwide, or certainly TCR Asia and TCR
Everybody
Thailand.
looks riled up now, trying to warm up their tires last minute though. Here it goes, the exit for the safety car.
So Jasper Thong will control the field. Control this time as it's rolling. And as he accelerates, the field will try and follow him behind him. It's up to him to pick the point that he does that. And he is away, and we begin lap number 8. It's now 8 laps down and showing 10 laps to go. So that's interesting. My maths tells me that's 18 laps, 15, but certainly been circulating behind the safety car for a while. So let's just watch this unfold. See who can make a forward move. And if somebody's gone a little bit wide, then Lai came up the inside a little bit more as took what was the more ideal race line. An older brother rather, Sean Thong, trying to make a position move further back. And he is shown a little bit further in 8th position. Actually still in position number 3. She's doing a fantastic job, of course, in the TCR Thailand AM Cup classification. Behind a Diego Moran, behind Diego, yesterday's winner, 2-time winner this year, Tin Strichrai. And it is Alex Liu who's been very impressive here this weekend. The Macanese driver, of course, has experience at the Macau Grand Prix, so he will be putting that to good use. Strichrai now going down the inside, trying to out-drag Diego Moran. He should have him here under brakes and safely make the move. Moran's given him the room, cuts back in behind the Team Thailand Honda driver, and will settle down in position number 5. Good move there, nice, clean, safe move. Strichrai had the speed. Talking yesterday after that second start, WS Lai had to battle down to turn 16 as his teammate Abdul Katir under fire for a couple of the TCR Thailand drivers. I didn't quite catch which ones just then. Oh, and he's gone very wide down there too. Sean Thong also involved in that. Sean wants to make sure he avoids any kind of incident like he had with Moran yesterday. WS Lai and Tin Strichrai battling for position. And Strichrai looks to make up another position on Natanit and try and take away position number 3. So the Team Thailand driver moving forward very, very strongly. Moran trying to take advantage of that too. And the Liquimoli Team Engsler driver trying to just get the nose up the inside, and Natanit now as they come along the front straight and take that position away. Looks like he's managed to do that as they head down to turn 1 and then to turn 2 left-hander. Alex Liu too looking to try and make up a position.
Bump, of course, right before going up the hill there. And, Alex Liu there was shaking and going over some bumps before going up the hill.
I was just looking at the timing monitor. It's 1/10 or 1/1000th of a second, the difference between Lai and Jasper Thong across the line that time. And of course, we've just gone. The producers put us on top of the leaders, and you can see that the Malaysian is closed right in again on the tail of Jasper Thong. So it's very, very close at the front of this field. Lai again, very, very clever operator. The R Engineering team boss will be just waiting for an opportunity. He'll be poking the nose down the inside where he can, just trying to work out the strengths and weaknesses of Jasper Thong. Jasper has the advantage, he's in front. It's a tight circuit to get around. He just focuses on where he needs to be. That will be the ideal position. But of course, sometimes the ideal race line is also an opportunity for another driver to move through, getting very busy in the middle part of the field. Promsombat, who was on the podium there in the red car yesterday, under fire from Sean Thong. He's driving a very wide line. Alongside, there could be contact there. He needs to be very careful. And that's allowed Kassiri to pull alongside. So whilst we're talking about attacking an ideal race lines, defending is another thing you've got to keep in mind. So what Sean Thong's well aware of is Jasper Thong, the race leader, has gone into the barriers, and Lai's gone in with him.
Well.
So this has ended in tears. That looks like it could well be down at turn 18. And this will see another safety car if we can't remove these two cars. So something's happened at the front of this field. Let's look at a replay. So Thong's gone in, he's holding the line. They can see Srichai coming behind. And there's been contact. It looks like perhaps Thong has braked early, and he may have caught Lai by surprise. And the Malaysian driver's gone into the back of the number 5 Phoenix Racing Asia Audi. And that should see a safety car intervention once more.
What an event unfolding right now. Under pressure, the first two hopefuls going for 1 and 2 duke it out before they enter the turn number 19, going out for the front of the grid, and they just both lost the cool.
And what this has done is opened the door for 110 Srichai to go back to back, and that's a very unhappy, I would say, Jasper Thong returning to pit lane. He had an opportunity too to put himself back into championship contention, and Tin Srichai's just happily sat there. He's had to work his way through. I mean, starting from position number 8, got himself into position 3, and he was hitting hard. He was approaching the tail of the battle for the lead very, very quickly, and perhaps that was enough to motivate Lai to say, okay, I need to move on the 17-year-old and try and get through. He closed in just like Sean Thong did on the rear of Lai. In fact, yesterday, heading down to turn 16, and just in those braking moments, if you're not quick enough on the reflexes, there's not too much opportunity to avoid another car. They may well have made contact, and there is the R Engineering team boss walking back to his garage. There are Srichai's greatest supporters, his parents. His father's watching very, very intently what's going on. His mother, yes, giving the number 1 figure. That's exactly where he is at the moment. This would be a great hometown result for the hometown hero. And yes, Jasper Thong, very, very disappointed. The 17-year-old was doing a good job. Yep.
Srichai is also pulling in good times as we're looking at it right now.
A lot of emotion there. And there is Lai's
car right there.
Honda Civic. And this will be his first DNF this year. I hope I didn't put the commentator's curse on him earlier, because I was saying that the important thing in building a championship is finishing. You have to finish a race and get a result. Doesn't matter whether you're first, second, third, fourth or fifth. As long as you score championship points, that's how you put these things together. You don't score championship points when you're sitting in the garage watching the field roll around. So he'll be very disappointed with that. Yeah, we didn't catch the moment it happened, but it certainly looks like Lai's got straight into the back of Jasper Thong in the braking point, and that's a fairly big hit for the number 5 Audi Hong Kong car.
Jasper Thong actually was sort of like mid in the turn. Wasn't too inside, wasn't too outside.
He may have braked earlier than Lai perhaps thought, because this is the other thing too. When you're an experienced driver, you know where your braking point is. You can pick it within, I'll use the American term, a dime or two.
Right.
Whereas once you're a lesser experienced driver, and let's face it, Jasper is 17 years old. He's had a bit of open wheel experience. He's won some championships. This is his first full season in TCR. But you may be out half a yard or half a metre on where some of the pro drivers are for your braking points. So whilst Lai knows exactly where he's going to stop, he may predict or just think naturally that that's where the other driver will stop. The other driver's out a little bit. If he brakes a little bit earlier, you are that close because he looked like he was wanting to make a passing move,
right. Then
impact's inevitable. And that appears to me as to what's happened. It wasn't intentional. There's no way it was intentional. Let's watch if this follows through. The Jasper's going to get on the brakes sometime now.
He's 150.
And yeah, we're watching Moran come through further back. And yeah, have missed it.
There's a tap. There was a tap right
certainly, you can tell from the front of the 39 car that there has been pretty heavy contact, and that's thrown Jasper Thong well off the circuit. Now, the problem we're going to have here too, with the amount that that barrier has moved, is it could be another lengthy period for the safety crew to repair the barriers down at turn 18. So, fingers crossed we can get a restart. I'm not so sure that's going to happen. It's a red flag now. So that could hand Tin Sritrai
back into pits right now for red
second
flag.
win. 11 laps now shown on the clock. So the current positions, Tin Sritrai leads, Diego Moran. Natanid could be on the podium this time, and that would be a fantastic result for TCR Thailand. Alex Liu, good result too for him as the Cup points leader if he takes this victory in position number 4. From Sombat, who was third yesterday, he will make it 2 cars from the RMI racing team in the top 5. Sean Thong, position 6 again. Kennedy Kasiri has moved himself from rear of field up to position 7. Abdul Katir in the second of the R Engineering Hondas in position number 8. Hanjit Kaysen is in position number 9 and would be second in the TCR Thailand AM Cup. And Jasper Thong shown in position 10, but both he and 11th placed Lai they're out of this race. So that would mean only 9 finishes from the 16 starters we had yesterday. Such has been the attrition rate here on the streets of Bang Sen, and that's not what we need, but certainly it's no surprise in some sense, because you consider events like TCR International that have raced at Macau and have started with fields of 20 plus cars and finished with half a dozen, with some of the biggest crashes in the history of the Macau Grand Prix. So maybe there's a false sense of security when you get behind the wheel of one of these little touring cars. But anyway, we certainly look like we're at game over as they recover the number 5 car, and that's a frustrating end to what has been a brilliant weekend to this point.
I think one of the major things that signaled the red flag is because the accident occurred right before the entrance to the pit.
Well, it certainly also moved that concrete barrier. It moved the safer barrier, and it moved the concrete barrier quite a distance. And again, it's about safety. It's about the safety of the people in the pit lane, the photographers, and there's a grandstand not far beyond that point. So that's something that needs to be taken into consideration. It was a quite big hit in real terms, because it appears that Jasper Thong hadn't had much chance to take a lot of speed off that car, so it went in quite hard. So there could be some work for the safety and recovery crews to do before the next race, and sadly that should be the end to this race. But for local fans, the local hero, the man who grew up nearby, Tin Sritrai, this could be back-to-back wins for the Bang Sen Grand Prix, and I don't think we'd have predicted that after practice. So that is race finish. We're getting the notification now that that is the declaration of the race. Tin Sritrai will take victory number 2 at home at Bang Sen. Second for Diego Moran. And third, that will also be a very, very popular result as we look at the result score, but third overall for Natanid Lee Watanavargal. Fourth for Alex Liu, 5 for Pasrit Promsombat, and 6th for Sean Thong Kennedy Kasiri in position 7. 8th for Abdul Katir, 9th for Hanjit Kaysen, and 10th for Jasper Thong, who was a non-finisher in this race after that contact eliminated him from the lead of the race.